Hey guys, how are you? Many of you write to me and you ask like, how do I get an investor for my business? And the truth is that most businesses, they never get an investor. In fact, I don't have exact statistics, but I would say like 99% of businesses or like business idea stage businesses never get an investment. Because their business idea stage, there's so much you have to do to even like be considered for an investment. So, and when you do get an investment, if you are like eligible, it might seem like the greatest thing, but the reality is that it kind of limits your strategy. Well, it doesn't, it limits and it opens possibilities, right? Because if you take, what happens is if you take on an investment from an investor, suddenly you can't just have a business which you're comfortable running anymore. What you've got to do is you got to go big with it. So all the kind of like strategies that maybe are working kind of and you're sort of okay with them, they kind of go out the window because you need to start having like rapid growth because that investor wants a big return, and they're going to be pressuring you for like that rapid growth, big market, that kind of thing. So a lot of things are going to be out of your hands, and a lot of the possibilities for the company are not going to be viable anymore because they may be good if you were still owning the business on your own, but it may be not a good enough thing for that investor because it may result in just an okay kind of good business, but not a great one. And so you start to need, if you take an investment from an investor, you start to sort of like, your only option is to go big. And in some cases it may be a riskier option. The strategy may be riskier, because the investor, they're okay with risk. They just want but they understand that they're taking on a lot of risk because they want a lot of reward, a big reward, right? But if it's your business, you may want to lower the risk, but maybe the reward won't be as much, but you want to retain the choice of basically where you take your business. Whereas if you take on an investment, you get less choice. Fewer options are available to you. And so it isn't really, yeah, there's a lot of great things about getting an investment. I think almost all entrepreneurs will take one if they can. But at the same time, it's not all roses. You become under a lot, you start having a lot of pressure to perform. Additionally, if you do not perform, you may get replaced after a while. There's that issue. And a lot of choices are no longer viable for you because your only strategy is to really go big. And they may be also riskier strategies. So, you always want to be careful. And also, if you can create a business which is self-sustaining through revenue, that may be the best because, at the end of the day, the investment will run out and your business is going to have to sustain itself through revenue anyway. So you might as well do that sooner than later. You'll retain ownership and more of the ownership, and it's just a good way to solidify the fundamentals of your business, is to make sure that it can sustain itself through its own revenue. So those are some thoughts on like why investors are not optimal, why I'm not that excited. And by the way, it takes like a long time to get an investment. I mean, a lot of effort. So you would have to pitch many investors. Most of them will be rejecting you unless you're the top like 0.01%. You'll have to go through a lot of rejection, spend a lot of time, and that time is time you will be taking away from building your business, right? So that's another kind of a negative thing that you should consider. 'Cause especially since you're in the beginning, you have limited resources, and if you're putting those resources towards raising money, those resources are not going towards marketing or building product or stuff like that. So that's another thing to be careful about. And ultimately, you may not ever raise that money, even though you may put a strong effort into it. I mean, most businesses do not end up raising money. So that's kind of what I wanted to say and caution people about. You know, everyone's excited about investors, venture, blah blah blah, but it's not all roses. And by the way, when you do get an investment, let's say it's like 50,000, but it takes you, the legal bills for it are like 5,000. Those 5,000 are coming out of the investment. So it's like you don't even get that full, because you get all this legal paperwork, and that cuts into your investment. So, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and there's a lot of strategy stuff that, investors sounds like it's a great thing, but it's not without its, pros and cons. It's always a trade-off. You get some benefits, but there's also some difficulties. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say about raising money from investors, and maybe some reasons not to do that. So that's it. Please subscribe to my channel, and of course, if you're looking to raise money, I created mobile apps which help you with business ideas, business planning, marketing, and fundraising. Which this video was kind of about fundraising. So yeah, please subscribe to the channel, and of course, please check out the apps. They're available on problemio.com, or if you search for Problemio in any of the app stores. Android, iOS, Kindle, Nook, or and I'll have the link to the apps in the description of this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.